Hi, and welcome everybody. Welcome to Lunch and Learn number 5 on maintenance management systems. We'll just give everybody a couple of minutes to come on in. We've had a few good people, numbers of people registered for today's session, so we'll just allow them time to come in. Hope everybody's doing really well and having a great positive week. And just while we wait for everybody to come in, if you could please just get used to the chat here. If you go to the chat on the right-hand side, you'll see there's a chat bar at the bottom. If everybody could put in either an F if you're a firstie to one of these lunch and learn sessions, or an R if you are a regular and you've been here before, and also the city that you're coming in from. That would be useful, and it'll get us used to interacting, which we're trying to obviously promote on the Lunch and Learns. So great to see you, Mike, again, and Corey. All right, good. Thanks for jumping in here. Corey's a regular, Mike's a very much a regular. We've got some firsties as well, so welcome, John. Excellent. Cold Lake, Alberta. Excellent. Okay, Mike. Yeah, and yeah, we've got Drew here coming in from Dallas, which is a good reminder to bring Drew on stage here. Now, Drew is going to be taking us through MMS today. So let me get Drew here on stage, get him ready. So as I say, these sessions, as you're probably aware if you've joined us before, we like to try and make them as interactive as possible. So by all means, throughout the presentation or at the end, just chat away, and we're monitoring the chat, and we'll stop and we'll ask the questions and we'll have a discussion. We'll invite you to come in if there's something that you would like to share or add. And yeah, we'll quite frankly, it makes it a more interesting event for us and for you if we can get that interaction going. So we'd certainly welcome that. But yeah, this is the 5th in the Lunch and Learn series, and if you haven't already done so, please mark this area, this next hour, I would say. Generally, the first 5, well, the first 4 have been around about the hour mark, so please mark that off in your calendars. This is going to be kind of like the Rev1 hour. We've got a further 2 or 3 Lunch and Learns, but we're planning something special on this time frame after the Lunch and Learns as well. So we'd like to make this the kind of Rev1 hour of the week. So Thursday high noon in Texas is where we're at the moment. So we'd like to certainly provide some value, some learning, bring some people in, do some interviews, and I think you'll find it's a very, very useful platform for the sharing of ideas. So, okay. So are you in, Mr. Drew? I think you are.
Yeah, sure.
Sound check. That's excellent. Okay. So thank you again, guys, for your time. We very much appreciate your time. We don't take that lightly. We want to try and add as much value crush as much value into the next sort of 45, 50 minutes. Today, we're going to talk about MMS and our sort of tech solution to MMS, which is TrackerRun. Now, as you're aware, it's a well-trodden path. Maintenance management systems have been around for a long, long time, and there's quite a few out there. There's many out there. There's some big players out there as well. But what we've realized as we go around our projects on project execution is that over the last few years, these systems have tended to, I don't know, they've grown arms and legs. It's a natural tendency with any tech solution to, can we do this? Can we do that? Can you do this? You're yes. And then suddenly, before you know it, we've lost the original objective, and this thing becomes so unwieldy. We're finding that a lot as time progresses about these big, huge kind of enterprise level systems. So this is not one of those. What you're going to see today, we've got a few slides which kind of introduce the subject on the concept and the objectives, but the demo that Andrew will present is not one of those systems. This is very much a fit for purpose maintenance management system, bare bones, which ties in with our other softwares, i.e. it's tag centric. The central common denominator is the tag, and it looks after that equipment from goods receipt all the way through construction, installation, handover to pre-com and com, from com into operations, and then TrackerRun takes this and manages it either forever or to a point where the project's finished, it's handed over to the operator, and then we can put all that data into an SAP. Once it's in the right structure, the data's all manipulated and everybody's happy with the structure. So that's kind of just setting the scene, guys. Yeah, okay, so let's start. So as I say, this is, we're on September the 10th, which is incredible, really. We're virtually halfway through September already. Today we're looking at TrackerRun. We've looked at the other technologies. They are available, actually, if you are interested in any of the other technologies, they are available to review on our website. So please go check that out. I think because you've registered for this, you will be allowed into that area where you can go and have a look at TrackerCheck, our CMS, or indeed our Tracker Prep, which is the facilities readiness tool, looking after operations integrity, and also TrackerCheck for technical integrity. So please have a look at that. Next week, we're going to have a look at what we call the vertical integration. So we've got a vertical stack. Everything, you know, we own the back end of the process, which is really systems completion into pre-com and com, handover to operations. So we have this thing called the vertical stack, which we're going to talk about next week. And then the week after pre-commissioning, and then we're going to wrap it all up with value maximization and a final overview. And then after October, we're going to start the commissioning now, which is going to be like the Rev1 show where we have guest visitors and guests. So if you are interested in that, we'll certainly be reaching out to you and we'll share some experience. It's all about sharing. Okay, let's move on. So the whole initiative here, the whole Lunch and Learn series, came from really a necessity to pivot because of COVID. You know, the old adage, you know, the thinking that got us to this point certainly won't get us to the next level. So we took a long, hard look at our systems, our products and our services, and we came up with a new model for the new age. A model for major projects that looks at these three areas. One is it's got to be cost efficiency. So cost minimization, getting the same value for a lower cost base. Value maximization, which is basically the technology, also our systems, procedures, and processes, both manual and technology. And then risk management, risk mitigation. How do we mitigate the risk down to zero so we don't repeat all the problems that we've had in the past? That's our COD model. And this has been born out of the COD model. So, okay. The contents for today, just a little 2 seconds on housekeeping. Our regulars will know all this, but we'll just go over the housekeeping. A couple of definitions, and then we'll have a look at the concept, the objectives, and then we'll hand over to Drew for a demo. Have a look at Drew will take us through the functionality, then some added value functionality. Have a look at a case study. We'll wrap up with some Q&A and then some next steps for people that are interested. There will be an opportunity, by the way, guys, at the end of this presentation to apply for a one-on-one, you know, let's peel back the covers and have a look into TrackerRun. We won't go into so much detail on this particular format, but there will be an opportunity at the end to actually do that. So, yeah, okay. So we are recording this session. Emma, please confirm, is that true, or is there something that I need to do here? I think we are recording this. Just so that you're aware, yes, it is recording. Thanks, Emma. So yeah, this will be available as part of the library of Lunch and Learns that we're now developing quite well. We are going to aim for around about the 45 minute mark. Maybe it'll go longer if there's any kind of interaction, but the previous ones have just kind of squeezed in over the hour, which has been really good. Usual things, we've been through it. please ask questions as we go through, or if you've got a comment, please stop us. If not, that's also fine. We'll just press on. Q&A throughout and at the end. And of course, you can get the handouts from the website. So yeah, that's the housekeeping. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, we're proud of this. We've gone end to end. If you look at the diagram on the right-hand side, which is our kind of area of expertise for the value chain, from design, procurement, construction, CSU, operations into decommissioning, we've got technology now that spans that value chain. We didn't go into this head on. We went in, business process mapped all those processes and workflows, optimized them, got rid of all the redundancy and duplication, and then we built the tech around it. So what you'll see in any of our applications is probably a 80-20, an 80% solution out the box, but deliberately that 20% just to tailor it to suit your specific requirements. So yeah, that's basically it. And then for the people that have been on here before, you'll know, but Tracker Prep, it's a facilities readiness tool. So it takes the operator's requirements, it builds them into a system where you can't miss anything. It's great for compliance, and it gives the operator some great confidence at the end of the day that, hey, this is what I actually wanted. So these things historically do not appear on the P6 plan or the project plan. So we've managed to lasso them all in, pull them all in, and manage them all. Tracker Check, which we went through last week, that's our CMS, completions management system, and that ensures technical integrity. And operations integrity is a combination of Tracker Prep, which we've just talked about, and TrackerRun, which we're going to have a look at today. That's basically an overview of our technology, and we call that the integrity management suite. So yeah, just quick start off with a couple of definitions. I know everybody on here, I know you're experienced subject matter experts in maintenance, but let's just go over it. Preventative maintenance, PM, a routine for periodically inspecting with the goal of noticing small problems and fixing them before they become major problems. Ideally, nothing breaks down. So preventative, prevention is better than cure, and all that. So this is a definition of preventative maintenance as we see it. Okay, and then corrective. CM is a maintenance task performed to identify, isolate, and rectify a fault so that the failed equipment, machine, or system can be restored to its original and in-service condition. So one's proactive and the other's reactive. But either one, plan your problems, plan for every opportunity, and that's what we've got here with TrackerRun. If anybody's got any questions or want to add to that or expand on that, please feel free. But basically, the concept here is to identify those critical, I would say, equipment, machinery, subsystems, systems, and develop PMR, planned maintenance routines or procedures using the manufacturer's recommendations and best industry practices. And an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Absolutely right. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, want to add to that, fine. If not, we can press on. Okay. You okay there, Emma? We've got Emma driving today. Okay, Emma, when you're ready, press on. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Concept. Yep, we've gone through the concept. We're going back, we're going forward. Here we go. Right. So, as with all our structures for our software, we've introduced well, we haven't introduced. The four-step process. Now, you'll find the four-step process is, I mean, it's been around. I think it came from Deming, and he went across to Japan after the Second World War, and he implemented continuous and never-ending improvement. Now this has been built in all to the international standards. So what you'll find is even like, I was going to say, probably ISO 55000, which is the asset management standard, all the quality standards, all the safety standards, they all follow the same sort of concept now, which is extremely useful, which is plan, do, check, and improve. And really, there's no getting away from it. If you use this as a basic management system structure, we all have to plan, we all have to do, we all have to check, and we're all into improvement. So everything we do fits into that simple kind of structure, and it's revolutionized and simplified, certainly, our technology. So keep it simple is the overall plan. Okay, so in terms of MMS, Emma? Plan. What do we do for the MMS in plan, in the planning stage? Well, generally there's a compliance document, a corporate MMS standard. You know, we take that as a tier 1 document. We work with the custodian of that document, and we build all those objectives, those high-level objectives for maintenance. We build them into TrackerRun. So MMS objectives, we translate those into KPIs, and really that's the why. You know, don't let's forget why we're doing all this. You know, what are the whys? And this is what I was saying about those unwieldy softwares. We kind of forgot, we kind of trodden on all this and moved on and made them all really smart. But actually, let's get back down to basics. Where's the compliance document? What we're trying to do, and why are we doing it? So get the objectives, translate them up front into KPIs, and then we can measure our performance. What we can't measure, we can't manage. So we'll come up with a series of KPIs, and the system that you're going to see will actually track against those. That's the why. The what is the planned maintenance, planned and preventative maintenance routines. That's the what. And generally this information comes from the data books. So it's a case of looking at what we've done before, what routines exist, looking through all the vendor data books and recommendations and coming up with the PMRs. That's the what. And then plan the routines. So manpower, tools, equipment, spares. That's the how. All this needs to be specified and built in and managed. And then, of course, it's the when, which is, okay, when we're going to start this. And then, okay, we're going to start it here, but what's the frequency? How long, you know, when are we going to keep on revisiting these things and coming up with the when? So basic information, but that's basically all in this area before we even start, called plan. Okay, Emma? So then with the doing, now we've got all the PMRs in, we've got the schedule, we print out the schedule for the week, we know what we're going to do, we can plan around that, and we carry out our routine. So we go out, all the teams of people, we do our planned maintenance routine. We come back to the office, we update the system with the report and any deficiencies and any deliverables or any further actions, or we mark it off. But basically, we're conducting the planned maintenance, and we're collecting data and putting it into TrackerRun. Okay, check. We're into the check-in area here. So checking can be at various levels. On ground level, it's real-time reporting. So we've got access, it's all web-based. Anybody can look, management reports. We can get almost an hour-by-hour status report on where we are with maintenance. And that goes for audits as well. So under check, there's a full audit trail there of what we've got planned, what we've done, what's late, and where we've got problem areas. All we're doing here is gathering data for the KPIs. Okay. And then improve. We've got the KPI reports. We've got the analytics. Now the analytics are getting better, as you know, by the week. All the business intelligence software. From the analytics, we can get the insights, and that's the name of the game. The name of the game, the overall objective is to keep the plant running at an optimum level so that we can maximize profits. And all those insights we can share and build them back in, put them back into the system under change management. That's the basic run through: plan, do, check, act, and improve. Okay. So we've just, before we go into the demo, I think we're just about finished the introductory slides, but some objectives here. And I guess we could, by all means, we could open this up and probably have an hour session just on what the objectives are. But essentially, it's the equipment readiness, staffing, how many people do we need, the operational schedule, when can we shut down, when can we change out. Let's work with operations to make sure that it's all optimized. Material management, when do we want the materials, have we got them, let's get the warehouse full of the equipment that we need. Predict failures, so mean time between failure. Now we've got the KPIs and the insights, we can start to do some predictive stuff and look into the future and plan for it. And of course, safety, keeping the plant safe and working within its operating parameters. Okay. So maybe at this juncture, I can introduce Andrew Rachel. Andrew works for us in Dallas. So please, Andrew, if you could come on and just introduce yourself and take it from here.
All right. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks.
Like Martin said, name's Andrew Rachel. I'm out of Dallas, Texas. I head up the U.S. side of Tracker Technologies. So in charge of R&D development, client support, and obviously demos. We have a gentleman over in the UK that heads up the other side of the globe. That's Graham Deans. So we do have offices in various places, but we have global 24/7 coverage. The slide you're looking at right now is kind of the core objectives with the software itself. One, we wanted a great user experience. We wanted it to be simple, out of the box, easy to understand without taking a 2-week training course. I've been on the projects myself as a turnover coordinator, DCS engineer, various roles, various industries. And the last thing you want to do on a project, the last thing you have time to do is take 2 weeks to learn how to use software. It should be pretty intuitive and used to what you're doing in the first place. So that's what we went for. So we didn't try to change the commissioning process, just do what we're talking about number 2, which was optimize the workflow. One of the ways we do that is with the mobility and connectivity. So we brought in a mobile app to be able to replace the paper ITRs, check sheets in the field. Sometimes there's still a use case for paper, so we do still maintain that ability within the system, but we're trying to push for full mobility. So we're taking all of our operations, everything you do in the field, and kind of migrating that into the mobile app and standing that up. It needs to be easy to use, and that's going to help with the adoption. So if somebody can use, just intuitively understand the process, see what they're doing in the mobile app, and it looks like what they're used to, they're going to be more apt to jump on it and use it. So we found out the hard way, if you try to get someone to do something different than what they've been doing for the last 30 years, there's going to be pushback because what they've been doing for the last 30 years has been working for them. So what we tried to do is keep the same process, just make it faster. And then rapid implementation. The startup group typically comes in pretty late into the process. The schedule's already been eaten up, and we have a definitive turnover date that doesn't shift. Any kind of engineering delays or construction delays comes out of the commissioning's time budget. So we knew we had to be able to get the software up and running quickly, so we designed it to do so. And then first and foremost, superior client support. I've dealt with other software companies, and they were very solid technical softwares, but the support was a bit lacking. And even if the best intentions were there, if they're not responding in 30 minutes, then you're losing time on the project. There's just no room to sit around for a couple of days and wait for an answer from the software group. So we vowed to be better than that, and our response times are they're impeccable. even if we can't solve the problem in the first 10 minutes, you'll at least know and be aware that we're aware of the problem and are working on it. So we put that at the foremost. All right, next slide. All right. So TrackerRun, some of the questions you're going to be able to answer with the software is, can I prove to my vendors that I've followed the recommended maintenance and warranty claims? I've been on a lot of projects where the equipment was not preserved correctly. I've actually seen $500,000 motors sitting in the laydown yard on a pallet in the rain. Obviously, it didn't work as expected when we went to start it up. A lot of the vendors, you have to be able to prove to them that you are using their recommended preservation tactics before they'll honor the claims. So we want to make sure the software was able to prove that. How many hours of maintenance do I have this week, next month? So that comes into the personnel planning. How many people do you need on site? Do we need all those people today, or do we need them in 6 months? So the software is able to help you look into the future and see what your maintenance is going to be a week from now or 6 months from now. And then the third one there, how many people do I need? And then lastly, again, with the rapid implementation, can I get the maintenance routines up and running quickly? It's hard enough going through all the maintenance manuals and digging in the back and finding all the preservation routines, but you need to be able to translate that into the documentation to start doing the maintenance pretty rapidly. So we believe we came up with a pretty good method to do that. So those are some of the things we've covered with TrackerRun, and you'll see a little bit of it in the demo here. On the demo, I'm not going to go down every rabbit hole and show you everything about it. I'm just going to keep it surface level, but you should be able to get a flavor of what the software does. A little bit of background on where the software came from. Two things driving it. One, what I saw on the projects were spreadsheets being used. The construction group was typically tasked with doing the maintenance, so they had to go through and come up with that process themselves. Or if the startup group was doing it, you now have someone that's not dedicated fully to maintenance, trying to maintain it, or maybe you do have a person dedicated, but it's still gathering all that information. It's very time consuming. Put it on a spreadsheet, trying to track it, trying to keep up with it, trying to get all the information in people's hands and corral the people. So what we were aiming to do was fill that hole in the startup and commissioning area where there's a specific tool designed so you're not recreating that on top of gathering all the information and doing the maintenance routines. You're not building the spreadsheet yourself. We just give you a tool to use to populate it. So we wanted to fill that gap between construction and the owner loading the information into their Maximo or SAP. There's a period in there. It could be 4 months, 6 months, up to 2 years I've seen where equipment's been on site that it hasn't been maintained. So there was that gap we were trying to cover. We're not trying to replace Maximo or SAP. That would be foolish to do. They're very solid softwares, but they take a long time to stand up and get usable. So that was goal one, was to fill that gap. Goal two was to just make that a seamless process. So when we do turn over to SAP or Maximo, we've already brought in the data from the startup and commissioning group. They've already collected it all. We flow it into TrackerRun, and then we process that and we maintain the software, and then we get it in a usable format to be able to help populate SAP and Maximo. So we're kind of precursor to that software. Now it is robust enough to continue on. If you like a midstream company that's not a corporate enterprise and you don't have SAP or Maximo, it is capable of maintaining it for the life of the product. But our goal was not to compete with Maximo and SAP. We just wanted to fill that gap. All right, now the software itself, a little bit about me. My first job was a nuclear power plant operator on Navy submarines. I was trained as an electrician and was responsible for doing maintenance every day. The Navy's preventative maintenance system has been around since 1963. It's had modifications, but The documentation that I read and learned on still had timestamps on it from 1963. So it's been around for 57 years. It's a tried and true system. It works. I like to say that it was sailor proof. It was hard for even sailors to break, but it was a very simplistic process. So when I got into the startup and commissioning arena back in 2008, I was kind of shocked at the complexity of some of the systems. I didn't understand why they were so just so deep and involved when I've seen a much simpler system. So we wanted to model it after the Navy system, obviously take it away from China markers marking up a laminated sheet and get it into the digital world, but the concept of the simplicity. So that's where we came from. Wanted to fill that gap on the startup and commissioning side before SAP Maximo takeover. And we also wanted to make it a very simple, robust system that ticks all the boxes, but doesn't tick 5,000 boxes, if that makes sense. All right, so we'll go ahead and I'll share my screen here and we'll take a look at the actual software itself. And Martin, if you can confirm that you can see the screen.
Yep.
All right, good to go. So I've already pulled up a few of the pages here. If you've been with us, the other demos, you've seen Tracker Prep and Tracker Check. They always had a navigation menu on the left side and standard industry technology. So you basically knew what you're looking at right out of the gate. I started off in the home section. I went ahead and pulled up asset information, PMR information, and the series viewer. So to really get this software going, what you need to do is determine, one, what you're going to be preserving, your tag list. And again, these tags can come over from the CSU side of things. We can pull them in from Tracker Check. They can be loaded with spreadsheets, however you want to load it. We can do APIs, tie into data sources. However you want to get the data in here, we can pull that off. So right there out of the gate, we're not reproducing the startup and commissioning's data. We're reusing the startup and commissioning's data. So you save time right there. So on these particular items on the asset side, there's a big checkbox here, maintainable. So we could actually pull over every single tag from the startup and commissioning group and then do a search by tag name, tag discipline, descriptions, various other sections, and rapidly isolate these items and flag them as maintainable. So it's a quick way to go through your data and determine what you're going to make maintainable. So you load your tags, you get them loaded. Once you get them loaded, you're going to load your PMR information. PMR, again, preventative maintenance record, and we modeled this after the Navy's PMR, which has all the data you need for a particular item. So the PMRs are going to be driven from the vendor manuals or any documentation from the vendor that says these are the recommended layup items for 6-month layup, a year layup, ongoing maintenance and whatnot. So you derive all your PMRs from that. The PMRs themselves start off as a spreadsheet. So you're just collecting this data in the standard format, really simplistic. The items you want to accomplish are here. You categorize them with these headers and subheaders and break them into these groups. So this PMR here that we're going to look at is for switchgear. It's electrical and it's 6-month PM. The PMR names, totally up to you. This is just nomenclature we used. The header and subheaders break down this data on the right side. So the objective, what you want to achieve with the PMR, all the required steps broken down into safety, the actual maintenance procedure, and then the closeout. Again, this is all driven by your company and what you wanted to read, but this is what we recommend. Now, once you take the spreadsheet and upload it into the system, what you're going to get out of it when you print one of these things is this, which mimics one of the Navy PMRs. So you've got your objective up here. Let me pull this in so you can kind of see them side by side. So there's your objective. It transfers into this section. So if you think of these things, they're actually just group headers for this information. So there's your required steps with your safety, which is going to be like your lockout, tag out, informing the HAZOPs and everything you need to do to get ready for performing the maintenance. Then the actual procedures themselves, you get a yes, no checkbox, the readings, comments, corrective actions, and then the closeout where you clear the lockout tag out, release the permit, and everything like that. So it flows into this template from this type of spreadsheet. It gets a barcode, your company logo up here, and enough information about the tag for the tech to be able to go find it, know what they're supposed to be doing. There's other sections here you can populate for tools or even the parts you're going to be required. So those are things you can add to this these sections. On the PMR itself, let's just edit that one real quick. There's your sections again. So there's all your information, what work center it belongs to, the disciplines. So this is where you're starting to build up your manning requirements when you assign them to these disciplines and work centers. Revision date, quantity of personnel required, the individual task, any safety items, any tools you need for the particular task, and any parts that you may need, consumables like gaskets, grease, that type of thing. So everything's loaded in the system. So we've loaded tags. We've got our PMRs. Now all you got to do is combine them. So when you go into the tag section, and there's multiple ways to do this, but I can go over to the PMRs for this particular tag, and we'll pick test tag 01 down here. I can already see the switchgear electrical 6-month here. I can go add a new PMR, pick from the list of PMRs and add it to it. During that process, you can pick the start date that you want to start the maintenance and the frequency, whether you want to generate it every day, every 30 days, every 180 days, totally up to you on that. Once you give it that minimum amount of data and you hit go, basically, it puts it in the automated scheduler, and now the system's watching and maintaining the schedule for you, and it's generating those PMRs every day. So every day at midnight, the scheduler runs, looks what's due for that day, generates it, and throws it into the system. And then you just print, send them to the field, get them back from the field, close them out, and move on with your life. So it's pretty seamless once you get the ball rolling and push that PMR out the door. So there's other, I'm back on the tag section here, and I was on the details section, but you can look at PMRs associated with that tag, any child tags associated with it, any tag photos. So if you want to take initial condition, take a snapshot, or take what other companies do is take pictures of the nameplate data, which has the serial number, model, everything like that. If you're doing periodic checks, you can use this as proof that it was in the laydown yard and in good condition on a such and such date. So whatever you want to do with the tags and photos. And then a bill of materials associated with that particular tag. So there's a lot of information just about the one tag there. So we've brought in tags, we've brought in the PMRs for the tags, and we've tied them together. And when they get tied together, they're in the series viewer. So what this does is, here's my tags on the left side, and here's all of the PMRs in dark blue required, and here's the periodicity that they're going to be due. So the system automatically, when you assign a PMR to a tag and give it a start, generates 1 year's worth of maintenance, unless you give it an end date. That full year is visible in the system. So if you have a PM coordinator that's going on vacation, wants to generate maintenance for the next 2 weeks, they can do that because it's sitting here waiting to be used, or the automated scheduler just takes care of it every night. Either way you want to do that. But really, those are the 3 steps initially just to get the maintenance thing rolling. The time-consuming part, we can't get rid of this one, is you still got to pull in the maintenance requirements, recommendations from the vendors. But everything else, once you get it loaded, really simple to use in the system. So those are the 3. Now, once their maintenance routine's kicked off and running, you're now out of the home section and you're in the preventative maintenance section. Manage is going to be the day-to-day activities that PMRs that need to be done for that particular day or week. And you just generate the PMRs from here, send them to the field. When they come back, you scan them in, close them out, and they go into the history. Real simple process. There's a lot of supporting information here, different things you can do with it, but you're all focused really on the management and the history of these items. The next section, which Martin pointed out during the ramp up, was corrective maintenance. There's kind of a gap in between when construction owns something, startup owns something. Typically items that are broke go on the punch list, but there's a small gap when the owner takes responsibility for a particular item or it's been completely commissioned. You might not necessarily want to be tracking broke items on the punch list. It may make more sense to put it in the corrective maintenance section. And keep in mind, this can operate as a standalone for an operating plant or for a client that wants to use it prior to Maximo or SAP. So the corrective maintenance would be used there. You wouldn't want to be loading things on your punch list. So the corrective maintenance section, really simple to use. You just identify the tags of the item that went down, and then you flag what's wrong with it, capture the description, give it a start date, any kind of materials you may need to support that. So you're tracking those corrective actions, and it gets a unique ID associated with it. When you close it out, it goes into history, just like everything else. The last section down here, totally up to you if you want to use this or not. Let me close two of these. So the inventory system. This was actually a tricky one to code out. And the reason being is really easy for us to set up a vendor section, a parts section, purchase orders, sales orders, and warehouse. We can define these, regulate them, and control them internally. But the problem is most clients have their own warehousing system or they have their own purchase order system that they use. So we had to make the software flexible enough for any or all of these to tie into existing systems. And that's what we did. So the parts management system, the purchase order, sales, warehouse, these can all reach out, use existing applications and pull the data in and tie it. So we had to make the inventory system robust enough to be standalone, but also be able to piecemeal it and attach to existing items to meet a client's needs. So that's where we're at with the inventory system. Then we start sort of tapering off of that. And now we're moving into the import scans. So you saw that the PMRs, when they went out, have QR codes on them. QR codes are unique for that tag, PMR, specific date. So as they complete them, bring them back in, put them in a stack of 50, scan those 50 in to your scanner, come out with one PDF, upload it, system breaks them apart, attaches all that, all the PMRs to the appropriate tags, and you close them out, much like you do in Tracker Check. And then the reporting system, as Martin pointed out, we got the KPIs and reports. We can develop a dashboard based off of your needs or reports on your specific items. I believe on this one, we have a very simplistic one for a client that just wanted to track the tech utilization hours and the PM work order status. We have other reports for them as well, where generates look-aheads and whatnot. But really, the reporting system is what you need it to be. We have our own embedded BI tool that we can develop dashboards for our clients, but we can also tie into your own Power BI. If you're a corporate client and using Power BI, we can give you access to the data and you can build your own reports however you want. We have a client that did that, and they developed some really fantastic looking reports. And we actually embedded the reporting page back into Tracker. So it's using their BI tool, our data, but we're showing it all inside of Tracker. So it was a really pretty cool solution, and they create new reports daily. And then you just got the admin section down here for controlling users, doing bulk edits and mass corrections to items if need be. I really can't drag it out any longer than that. It's a fit for purpose, very simple solution where tags, PMRs, time together, get your series, do your maintenance, and capture broke items and fix them. So very fit for purpose, covering the construction to turn over to operations. And if a client wants to use it until they get SAP or Maximo stood up, or just use it to end of life on the plant, they can do so as well. So
I think for kind of major project delivery, execution delivery, it was born out of a need, Drew, really, because we couldn't get SAP up and running on our major projects in a timely manner, and there was this gap. So we've plugged the gap pretty effectively now with this tool. So yeah, as you're saying, in the days of complexity and technology and analytics, great, but at the end of the day, we need something to work that's quick, easy, and effective, and that's what you're looking at here. So
right, yep. Still need the users to be able to use it.
Exactly. Which is the name of the game, really. That's why we're doing all this preservation and also maintenance. So, any questions from anybody on anything that you've seen during this lunch and learn, or just open it up? By all means, we can type something in there, or come on and share your experience of maintenance management systems, the big ones, the small ones, the medium-sized ones. Do they work for you at the moment? If so, great. But certainly in our experience, I think this just kind of hits the mark, and it's that put piece, it's that little bit in the middle that we can control, manipulate, and we know our equipment that goes into the systems is all taken care of. So.
Right. And Martin, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, but if Emma wants to pull up the slides, then I think there's a couple more slides.
Yeah. Can you see that, Drew? The MMS value functionality? Yep. Okay, Emma, thanks. Can you see that, Drew? Drew, you muted.
Yeah. Bad habit there. Yeah, I can see it. So the value functionality, some of the items are trying to capture as far as value added by the product. The intuitive user experience, as you saw, it's not overwhelming, has a natural flow to it, and everything's spelled out with common nomenclature. So it should make sense pretty much to all users. It does have backwards integration to CMS, so you're not duplicating efforts. You're just pulling in what's already been done. Has a fluid design for corporate integration, and you see that really in the inventory system pretty heavily. We do have the parts management integration, the automated scheduling, which has a huge benefit over a spreadsheet. It's keeping up and keeping track of your daily routines. And I keep saying the daily scheduler. That scheduler is configurable to look ahead 1 day, 7 days, 9 days, 25 days, whatever frequency you want to look ahead. The scheduler is flexible enough to do that. So you can generate a month's worth of maintenance all at once if you want. And then the scalable design and rapid deployment. So you can use it just for preservation. You can use it for capturing the corrective maintenance. You can expand it into a full-blown inventory section. Small to big, however you need it to work. And then the BI reporting is kind of the icing on the cake. It's great to be able to do everything, but unless you know you're missing items, unless you can see that you have a real high turnaround time for repairs on motors, you're not going to know where the problems are. You're not going to know what you need to go focus on to get things moving smoothly. So that's where the BI reporting comes in. The business intelligence. So it really shines a spotlight on any issues you have.
I think on these next wave of major projects coming through, Drew, data collection, analytics, insights, it's going to be the kind of the way forward, as it were, just to try and optimize processes, cut down. It's basically the three areas that we started at the beginning. It's mitigating the risks, it's minimizing the costs, and adding the maximum value. And we can only do that if we collect the data. So that BI reporting, number 7, extremely critical.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. And then the use case here. So we implemented the software for Schlumberger over in Kuwait. They had a very large 3-plant oil field project going. They're actually using TrackerRun as a stopgap until they get their, I believe they're using Maximo on that one, until they get Maximo up and running. They're actually using our inventory system and integrating it into their portions of their software, but they're using it solely on 3 different plants. So the upper level management in charge of the whole thing can see the overall maintenance, what's going on with it, whereas the individual users are just focused on their plant. The cool thing is they didn't develop 3 separate maintenance processes for 3 different plants. They combined them all. So when they create one PMR, it's usable across all 3 plants, even though there's, when you log in, you go to a specific plant. So we do have that ability to share data across and tie different plants into one single project. So you're not, again, not duplicating efforts. But it's been a real big success story. And like Martin pointed out there, it saved them $1 million alone.
And also they use Tracker Check, which is our CMS. So all the tags were in there. It was easy to transfer them over into TrackerRun. So yeah, correct. Yeah, good example. Thank you. Okay, Emma. So yeah, thank you, Drew. Yeah, probably not one of the more interactive sessions, but we kind of thought that. But by all means, please fire away if there are any further last-minute questions. But you know, just as a recap, we've gone through the definitions, the concept, and the objectives of MMS. We've looked at the demo to some degree. Hopefully, you've got an idea of the functionality now and what we can control. And also the value-added things that Drew went through as well on the MMS. We had a quick look at a case study. And anybody that wants to have any further information, by all means, on a one-to-one, please reach out to us. And you know, obviously, we'll be only too delighted to make a presentation specific to your own needs. And also that could be, I'm just thinking now, Drew, that could be you know, a preservation problem, it could be a maintenance problem, or even a data capture. We've done quite a few projects for certainly midstream where we just go and capture data that's in the field before it goes into the major enterprise management system. So anything like that, please reach out. We're here for you guys, and this is all part of sharing what we do here, raising the awareness of Rev1 and showing everybody what we can and cannot do. So. Okay, Emma. Okay, so I think we'll flick by there. Next week, as I said, we're going to be having a look at the vertical stack. So it's great that everybody was on here today, and thank you for lasting the journey with us. And you know, we kind of look forward to seeing you all next week. Okay, Emma. If this kind of format jives with you, just want to bring your attention to an event that's coming up very soon, October the 2nd. We've got the Commissioning Professionals Symposium. It's virtual this year. We've got some really cool software that you just see a snapshot on the right-hand side, but all that's interactive and moving on the day. We'll drop in the note, Emma, if you could just drop the link so people can go and have a walk through the website, have a look. And if you like this kind of format, please feel free to join us on the day. It'd be great to see you. If you are a supplier, also there's a great exhibitors stand where you can have a stand and you go onto these avatars and you can speak to people as if you were there. And people that exhibit or even people that attend have got a briefcase and they go around and they collect videos and PDFs, and I mean, it's a really cool bit of software. So I would certainly recommend that people visit the site, have a look, and if you're interested, please reach out to either Emma or myself, and we can get you hooked up for that for sure. But yes, okay, we're just coming up now. Let's have a quick look. I think we're just coming up to the hour now. So thank you everybody again for your attention. We really appreciate it, and I hope this has been of some value to you. Please mark it in your diaries and calendars for next week. And as I say, this is going to be an ongoing thing. So we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody. and have a great rest of the week. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Martin.
Right.